and welcome, beloveds, to the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I really do pray that you are well in all your ways and that you are moving into living life truly on your own terms. We want to thank everybody, the movers and shakers of of Africa, and the future leaders of Africa who tune into this show regularly and send us so many emails about the great progress that they're making. So many things are happening behind the scenes. We will definitely be starting to share more of the organizations that are being created and what is really happening across the African continent and global Black Africa. But this story has kind of shocked, shocked the world, where the divided states in the middle of people can't even believe that this is actually happening in the middle of a global pandemic. The U.S. has decided that it is going to be deporting foreign students who do not find what are they calling it? An intuition, where tuition is being given live. Now, because of the whole coronavirus pandemic, a lot of universities, famous and not so famous, like the Harvards of this world, have announced that the next year, 2020 to 2021, the next 2 semesters, all courses are going to be given online. Now, ICE, which is like the international, the organization that handles international students, they announced that students had only gotten a loan for in-house teachings, which means they were attending classes, etc., but their visas did not extend to situations where they would be having online, receiving online classes, and if their university was going online, then they would literally have to get out of America. So a lot of people found this extremely insensitive. There was a lot of anger over the U.S. decision on foreign students, but people should be taking it as a blessing in disguise. Go home. I mean, specifically to the African students, come home. What are you doing? What are you doing? The U.S. is locking down. Babylon is falling. Why are you even trying to be there? Catching all kinds of feelings. And, this could affect anywhere from 500,000 to over 1 million international students. I think last year alone, they said that the U.S. gave at least 340,000 international visas. So if they've been doing that annually, the international students could run into, the millions. And the U.S. has more, they are said to have more than 1 million international students doing various graduate and undergraduate degrees. Of course, Asia makes up 3/4 of the population, but there is still a significant percentage of our African brothers and sisters who are there. But literally, that everyone may just be told to go home. And you know what? This actually may be inspired by the fact that the international student population, 26% is made up of Chinese nationals. We've been seeing a lot of, accusations of them sending their spies and scientists as students, as graduate students, and stealing the knowledge back to China. I mean, that was one of the theories out there about the Wuhan virus and how it started, all kinds of, international, James Bond kind of scenarios. But this is really sad, and teachers have come out and said, and spoken out. There's a teacher from New York University who said, many of the students in the program I teach at NYU are here on student visas, and given their countries of origin and time zones, many of them would not be able to make an online program work from their home countries. They would have to drop out. And, I think also a lot of people were saying, if you're going to do online, then you might as well Google or go on YouTube and, would you still be willing to pay, those thousands and thousands of dollars for an online course? Of course, the students are demanding that if this is going to be the situation, of course, they want their money refunded, etc., etc. So it's looking like it's going to be messy. But let me tell you, this is such a sign. This is such an epic sign, because the divided states, the way they were able to stay ahead of the game was not only through their green card, which they offered to like the scientists, the engineers, the doctors all across the world, the brilliant ones all across the world in various programs, but especially their international student program, the fact that the US has always been the place for everyone to go, it's a major source of income, for the divided states. And so to see this going, it also means that all those intellectuals that have been brain draining from Africa and Asia are going to now be forced to stay, to stay in their continents, keep their knowledge in their homes. So this is such a blessing in disguise. And we're going to see such a changing of dynamics in education. If everything is going online, then that's really going to open up the game. That's really, because even education, it's a game to get you to fit into one matrix or another. But, I mean, for all of you who are spending thousands and thousands of dollars learning to exist in a matrix that is falling, well, good luck to you. But let me know what you think about this. Really tragic knowing that, students, some may not even have air ticket, money for air tickets to come home. There's a lot of different complications, but we'll definitely keep an eye out. I swear, Trump, in the middle of coronavirus, you're like, international students, get out. Let me know what you think. Tuko pamoja.
Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, Africa.
Hello and welcome to Africa Watch on the Dr. Mumbi Show. My name is Dr. Mumbi Saraki. How you doing? How's everything going? I pray you're well in all your ways and that you are living your absolutely most superb life. Thanks to every single person that subscribes to the channel, shares and likes the videos. Really, really appreciate love each and every one of you. Go ahead and subscribe if you haven't already. It's absolutely free, fam. And thanks to just our growing Patreon family and our growing PayPal supporters. Really, really appreciate you guys. We will be heading to the Gambia. That's going to be our next stop. Well, who knows? We may go somewhere in October, but November, the Gambia it is. And we'll see. We may even finish out the year, finish strong in the western part of Africa. So, if you're in any part of Senegal, Nigeria, Ghana, and you'd like us to, pit stop in your nation, in your hood, go ahead and hit us up and we'll see. We're still kind of planning together our little trip. But you know what? I have a really sad story to report. And for me, a lot of people may take it sad for one side, but for me, I took it to be sad from a totally other angle. Now, a recent report shows that 75% of African students are denied student visas to go to Canada. And, the average global rate is actually, the average global rejection rate stands at 39%, which shows you that the African rejection rate is double that of, the rest of the world, where we're not the only developing continent. You know what I mean? Not a good sign at all. But for me, when this article was sent to me, thanks to all the subbies that send me articles and everything, love you guys, my silent reporters, when this article was sent to me, the sad thing for me was that our people, our people are still being forced to emigrate. They're still looking for greener pastures, because our governments have failed us. Now, this report did clarify, by the way, so it's not like people trying to run away. They did clarify that, a lot of students, a lot of African students actually can't be accommodated by local universities. And so what happens, even in Kenya, by the way, what happens is that a lot of the especially students from private schools where it's harder to secure a place in some of the really good public universities, like the University of Nairobi, for example, what they'll do is they will now be forced to seek education internationally, and Canada seems to be the new, the new destination. Now, the sad thing is that the reason they were denied, it's one thing to be denied, but the reason they were denied is a very controversial clause. And this clause is basically gives the immigration officers the discretionary call, which has, it's long discriminated against Africans, not just in the US, but across Europe, where an immigration officer can basically look at you and decide whether they think you want to go back to Africa or not. And so it's called the suspicion that applicants will not return to their home country. Unfortunately, it looks like this is allegedly the primary reason that many, African students are being denied entrance. And let's not forget that Canada actually has this whole skills, I don't know what they're calling it, something like skilled workers program, where they're really encouraging the entire world, I guess not Africa that much, to kind of relocate to Canada with their skills, and they'll get, residency and eventually get citizenship. And they introduced this program to try and combat the fact that they have this huge aging population. And so, that's happening in most of Western Europe, right? And so with a huge aging population, like there's no one to take over, there's no one to work in their industries, work those jobs that most people wouldn't want to do. So they've been doing this huge campaign, almost similar to the, the green card campaign that the US used to do before Trump. I guess he missed that memo, didn't understand what that was about. And that's what actually gave the US this competitive edge. I'm not going to get too into that. It's because they used to get all the intellectuals, right? So you do this lottery, but you screen for all the guys who are studying like nuclear physics, engineering, whatever. And those are the people who win the lottery. Stories for other days. But this is really painful. 75% of young African students wanting to study in Canada can't get in. The sad thing is that so many of our brilliant minds are trying to get in. And, before we take a break, I just want to say this shows you, this should be a serious warning to the elite and the middle class of Africa. Because a lot of you guys are the reason that the revolution in Africa never kicks off. You're always the ones that put the brakes on the revolution. You're always the ones that think somehow, if you maintain the status quo, you can maintain your luxury cars and your beautiful homes and everything. But your children are being denied entrance because of this Afrophobia. By the way, it's a word. The global dislike of Africans.